So I'm going to do my best to answer some of the burning questions many of you have had over our investigation involving the joint Tennessee Highway Patrol and ICE operation last May. If you haven't seen the story, there's a link on newschannel5.com, but I'll also make sure to put in the bio. First, we did not blur the faces of THP troopers and ICE agents in this operation. That was done long before we ever had access to this footage. THP will sometimes redact, sensitive information like addresses, phone numbers, social security numbers, but this is the first time that I've ever seen them redact the faces of federal officers. So there's that. Some of you have asked why we're talking about this now. Well, this investigation took several months, but it just timed out to where we realized that this reporting was going to come right after some of what we already saw in Minneapolis. So we had an opportunity to show the stark differences in operations between what happened in Tennessee and what happened in Minnesota practically a year apart. It also timed out to where lawmakers here in Tennessee can now decide how they want to choose to react. There are a number of immigration-related bills on the docket right now where Tennessee lawmakers worked with White House advisor Stephen Miller. One of the latest videos that I put together talks about Senate Bill 1880, where Governor Bill Lee said that he wanted to create the Office of Homeland Security here in Tennessee under the Department of Safety, even though that kind of already exists. Anyway, this office would hire officers to work alongside the federal agents so that THP doesn't necessarily have to be the ones doing these operations. Now, the follow-up bill to all of this is something I really need you to pay attention to, okay? Because Senate Bill 1881 makes it so that any record that comes out of this new-ish department is considered confidential, meaning that we won't be able to access it, you won't be able to access it, even after they complete their investigation. Now, the reason I think this is important, not just because it's confidential, but think about that. If this bill becomes law, videos just like the ones that you've seen, we would never have access to any of this because it would be considered confidential. We put in an open records request for all of the videos, just like any of you could have done the same. Yes, it can get expensive. The reason we were able to get access to all of this footage is because we partnered with some folks who ended up suing. So imagine if all we had to rely on about what was said,
we got to give them the mark of the beast,
and what was done that night came from the very people who were detained. For some of you, it would probably be a lot easier to dismiss it and say, yeah, there's no way that happened, but we have the video, okay? We should all want transparency.